living in the age of the internet and social medias. And I've been thinking about that, about how social media, they're all kind of the same. Isn't that interesting? Like, you can post some content, it could be a picture, or sharing a video, or a link, or a paragraph, or whatever. Like, all these things, you're just sharing either memes or ideas or words or pictures, and I use pretty much all of them, including YouTube, pretty close to the same. I put out a lot of the same stuff. I actually put kind of it's like different but similar videos in each one, just so I'm not posting the same thing in each on each platform. But it's so strange because I use it very differently. It's a tool to me. And even though it can be pretty toxic, especially, like, I'm just thinking of the last thing, like, one of my pretty good friends who's just kind of been ghosting me, and I know probably going through a hard time. It's like it's replied to, like, the last, like, it's just like, how you doing, and stuff like that, and then I reached out to them again. They still didn't reply, except for I know they're on their phone because they're posting all these pictures on Instagram and that kind of thing. That's just like, what the hell? Like, but yeah, I don't understand. People are not like me in that way. Like, I get back to people. I'm usually the last one to like say something in a text conversation. I'll be like, thumbs up, like, I got what you said, like, confirmed, affirmative, roger that, like, that kind of thing, like, to know that they're heard, that I saw their message. And a lot of people do that, but also a lot of people don't do that. And it's interesting. I use social medias and platforms, even like YouTube, as a tool as a community tool. Because the cool thing about the internet that we can't do without it is it's kind of a form of very crude collective consciousness. And we are so every which way that, as far as collective consciousness goes, like, people are just on totally different levels with stuff. And a lot of people are just into things that are more normie, like more pop culture. I'm into some pop culture. I don't want to brag on that, but I'm also into outsider art and outsider music. Even some of my own music is like outsider music, and I definitely appreciate those that appreciate it. But it goes for a lot of people. It's a lot of artwork doesn't really get appreciated, but that's also because a lot of artwork is done in altered states. And what I've noticed is when I'm, like, straight, as far as, like, not doing any substances, just like ordinary consciousness and like the world, I become more, I become more materialistic, which isn't like a bad thing, but I don't appreciate as much stuff like that. It's like when you're imbibing it in cannabis, for those of you that do that, know that you can really get into a song and appreciate a song when you're high, because time kind of dilates a little bit, and you can just, it's kind of meditative. Like, you can immerse yourself in the feeling, the felt presence of that song. And really, it's like putting on glasses, like you can really see. But it's more than just seeing, it's a felt presence. And I love when people share songs. I share songs a lot, and it's like, not really hardly anyone listens to them. I'm talking about sharing songs, not posting songs, even though not much more on that. But yeah, stuff I find interesting is kind of more just niche, I guess, in contrast to like the general consensus consciousness. The things that are too outsider people are just, passive indifference, which is fine. I mean, that's how I am with stuff I'm not into as much. But and some people use the platforms as I do. It would just be so much more healthy if people used it as a tool to bring community together. And there are these Facebook groups, and there's certain Instagram pages and YouTube channels that talk about important social change and social science and stuff like that. And I find that kind of stuff interesting and engaging. There's just so many things out there, and it's really cool that we have YouTube. We can all just talking about freedom of speech, even though a lot of things are censored, which kind of makes sense because a lot of people are so inexperienced and naive that they just take things wrong. So I go both ways on the censorship thing, because people get really confused easily and triggered easily, and yeah. It's interesting that the tool of social media is used more for community, and also it's so insipid often, just poor taste, that a lot of people just avoid it altogether, which I respect that. I've done that before. I've taken a break from Facebook. When I first started taking a break from it, gosh, it was 2018 or 19 or something like that, and I just deleted the app off my phone. I didn't actually delete the whole my whole Facebook page, but I just need to get away from it because I used to just scroll too much, and then it started becoming ads all the time, and people don't seem to garner much value from information and data that we share with each other. Or a lot of people just scoff at it oh, that's fake news or whatever. And I mean, there's a lot of that too. But people are just so polarized, and it really is evident on social medias. There's also a certain kind of ethos of people on Facebook, a certain slightly more artistic ethos on Instagram. It's kind of become a professional platform for people to display their art, and if they're models or if they're just trying to put their stuff out there, or get out there. And of course, a lot of those people are just kind of so self-obsessed that they don't really so much engage in other people's stuff. I've noticed, or maybe that's just more with me because I'm kind of niche, different, not really so much in the consensus consciousness. I have a lot of nuanced beliefs on things, even though I try not to give away my faith to any belief. I just like to entertain different beliefs, and I feel like that's a better aesthetic as far as believing things in a world where we are very naive, and if we're being totally honest with ourselves, we don't really know if something is truly true unless we witness and or experience and feel it. And then that's just our dynamic. That's just a personal, anecdotal dynamic with something. So what I'm saying really is these platforms could be really used to be more helpful. And I've stayed on it because if everyone that has quality content just is not present on it, then all it's going to be is just kind of low-level thinking, just kind of shallow stuff, which is fine too. If someone posts a comic or a silly kind of stupid meme, sometimes they're fun, I kind of like that sometimes, but there's just not a whole lot of meaningful substance. I do enjoy when friends post a vulnerable post about themselves and their life and what they're going through. The authenticity is still there. And it's few and far in between. But if people really spoke their own thoughts out and stuff without being insecure about, oh, is this cringe what I'm posting? Even if it is a little cringe, whatever. Like, there's a lot of cringe in this world. There's a lot of yikes. And, you know, it's just the world we live in. And even though I don't love it, like, it's like, what am I going to do? Just hate everything that's poor taste? I can shake my head at it and just like, wow, you know. But, and I say stuff that's also like that as well. But it's like I'll post a video sometimes that's just like, ooh, that was pretty edgy of me, but you know, whatever. I think it's okay to be a little unhinged and have, what do they call it, hot takes. I love a good hot take, like an unpopular opinion. So yeah, I'd like to hear other people's perspectives on like the social media thing, because we all know that they're like taking our information or whatever, which to me doesn't really bother me, because it's like, what, you want to spy on me? Like, the ads have always been like poor taste, like for a long time. There's some good ads every once in a while, but it's like they've never been good. And yeah, it's like I'll look up, it's like different musical instruments and accessories and blah blah blah, and I'll get all that in my suggested content, or suggested products for me to buy and all that stuff, which is, it's like, if I want a product, I will look it up and do research on it, and oftentimes will like buy a product or something and then get advertisements for it for a year. It's just so, it's like they haven't figured it out yet. It's like when someone's being really rude or greedy at the table and they don't even have enough self-awareness to realize they're being that way. Is kind of like how ads are these days. Just like, it's like these marketing teams and stuff like realize how bad a lot of like how stupid like a lot of their ads are, and they put so much money into this stuff, and I guess it does work for some people, but to me it's just like, wow, now I really don't want to buy that product or whatever. What a world we live in, huh? But perhaps one day we'll evolve a bit more to use these platforms in a healthier way and to talk about difficult things in life, and like not be afraid to speak your truth, even if it is a little unhinged. Or so there's oftentimes I post things and like in my memories it'll come back and I'm like, oh my god, I said that in front of God and everyone. You know, but you gotta give yourself grace, because we are naive in a lot of ways, and that's a good like realization to have, because if you think you know and have it figured out, like you're already limiting yourself, is what I've realized. So it's important to realize that everyone's in kind of a different place in life, and just because they might say something that's it's like revealing their naivety or unawareness around something, it doesn't mean they're that way with everything. Like, there's probably other stuff that they're like highly intelligent about, and so it's like you can't just totally dismiss someone because there's one thing that they posted that's like, oh yikes, like really, you think that? And it's like, it's okay to disagree with people. It's like we're never gonna see eye to eye on everything, and viewpoints change. Like, I go back and I'm like, you know, that one thing I posted is not what I necessarily to be true anymore, or I have kind of an updated perspective on something after going through a certain amount of experience with it. So let me know your thoughts.